Welcome back to the Aussie Millions Poker Championships in 2014. This is the high-stakes cash game, and there is the ledger. Phil Ivey profiting around 211,000. Doug Polk with around 200,000 now. Now, Lo Shing Fung with that last pot against Ike Haxton was $200,000 down, and now he's up $1,000. So he's on the way.
He's killing it now, Paul. He's in the white. One of only 3 players at the table. He's the most unpredictable player there, and he's sitting with 500,000 in front of him. That is pretty scary for some of the other players.
Well, Lowe's involved again,
Cool.
as is Ike.
Like we heard Ike say, the only difference now is some players might think he might be steaming a little bit on tilt. So if Ike actually picks up a hand, some players might not actually believe him and maybe give him a little bit of action.
Well, he's gotten involved by calling with Queen Jack offsuit. Ivey 3-bets him. We know Lowe's got a Queen of Diamonds. There is vision of Lowe. He also has Queen Jack offsuit. And he decides this time, no. As does Ike. So only Phil Ivey and Max Altergott. We know that Max now has Ace-10 offsuit. We're waiting to find out what Ivey has, the flop. An Ace-King flop with 2 diamonds. 5 of clubs follows. Both players check. Ivey with Ace-Queen. And there is a Queen on the turn. So Ivey with Ace-Queen.
Check.
It actually improves Max's hand to a gut shot now as well.
Bet 10,000. 10,000 to call.
Phil's going to get a little bit of value.
He just throws in $10,000 like they're Doritos. Max Altergott now. Well, he's got top pair and a backdoor draw. The pot, $41,000.
This was checked through again like a previous hand. Phil got value from a previous hand Doug got value from Phil from a previous hand.
Max calls. Pot's now over 50. The river, a 6 of spades. So Phil Ivey's 2 pair are best. Can he get any more out of him?
That changes very little for as far as Max is concerned.
Bet 40,000.
Ivey just bets 40,000 so quickly, and Max snap calls him, so he's going to have to cough up another 40,000. That pot escalated right there on the river, got to over $130,000.
Yeah, the check on the flop was a good check from Phil. Just looked like he was trying to buy it on the turn there. When Max calls the turn, the river is a complete brick. It's hard for him to fold, and he called pretty quickly and was shown the bad news.
Yeah, didn't mean to, obviously.
Huh? Yeah, I thought this was your cards when you went like that for some reason. That's why I flicked my hand.
They are like roughly the same size.
In a tournament, a lot of the hands play themselves. You know, a lot of your decisions are based off of your chip counts and things like that. You know, in the cash game, there's just so much more to it. There's a lot more psychology involved. What a person's thinking, how he played a hand 5 hours ago. You know, is he trying to set me up for later? Does he think I'm trying to set him up? There's just so much more to it.
Phil Ivey, well, still regarded and has been regarded for such a long time as the best player in the world. Grant, you know, I got the opportunity to play with Phil a couple of times during tournaments, and he doesn't give away much. He's not as quiet as people think at the table, but he is very scary. It feels like he knows what you've got by just looking at you.
Well, I'm not sure if it just feels like that. He probably does know what you've got just by looking at
Well,
you.
he does. We're looking at me, that's for sure.
He is superhuman, isn't he?
Patrik Antonius in shot with pocket 2s. Paul Newey from England with King 10 offsuit. The flop, 5-3-4 flop. Wow, what a flop.
Yeah, I wonder if Phil could hit that any harder without actually hitting it.
2 diamonds, Phil Ivey. King deuce of diamonds. Bets again.
12 to call.
Just so casual with his cup of coffee.
Well, he's going to lose Paul Newey, obviously, but Patrick's not going anywhere. And it's going to be really hard for him to continue past the flop unless he improves his hand. Phil's certainly in the box seat here, even though he's only got king high at the moment.
Turn, a 5 of hearts.
Well, that's a good card for Patrik. Should never really improve Phil's hand too much. And what I mean by that is, if he was behind, he's still behind. So it just doesn't change anything.
Well, Antonius makes a big bet here. The pot's 44,000. Wow. Really asking the question of Phil Ivey's hand now.
These guys have played thousands and thousands of hands together. If any two know what each other's thinking, it'd be these two here. And obviously Phil can't fold. He has a second nut flush draw and an open ender with an overcard.
Oh, the river is a queen of diamonds, so Ivey strikes his king high flush.
Ivey doing what Ivey does best, getting there on the river.
98,000 in the middle. Will Patrik take another stab here?
It's a disgusting card for Patrick's pocket twos, obviously.
Be a bad time to do it.
Yeah, I don't think he will, Paul. Patrik has always been very deliberate in his action. Takes his time over his decisions, thinks things through, and always comes up with the right decision.
He checks it over to Phil.
And how much value is Phil going to go for here? 75,000? Yep.
That's exactly what he bets. 3 plaques. Can't imagine Patrik will call here.
Well, it'll be a huge hero call.
No, Patrik lets it go. So Phil Ivey continues to grow that cash game stack. And that is something that a lot of players at the table won't like seeing, that is for sure. But he's been doing it for so many years. Well, the chips were certainly starting to fly here at the 2014 Aussie Millions high stakes cash game. Some of these players are no strangers to the nosebleeds, especially that man, Phil Ivey, who started quietly, but his stack began to grow, and that's got to scare a lot of players here at the 2014 Aussie Millions.